Five, four, three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and I hope you're all doing well. My name is Tanner Dagenais, and the Mind Hacker, and I help gamers overcome their weed addiction and really overcome depression. And I think it's really important in today's day and age. A lot of people are facing these things. But I'm also the host of Unleash the Hero Within, a gaming podcast where we have different gamers come on to talk about all things gaming and to share their personal stories. And I'm very excited and very honored here today to have Jerry The Aries here on the line. He is a very cool dude, as you can tell. I love his getup. He has some amazing content on Instagram, both his profiles. I'll make sure I have links to those down below so you guys can find him. And yeah, Jerry, I'm just so thankful to have you on today. Can you introduce yourself a bit, like where are you located? And let's then we'll start going into your gaming story after that.
Once again, I'll apologize to you guys. I have a 2-year-old in the background that is tearing it up. He's tearing it up, but he's being a kid. That's what kids do, okay? So a little bit about myself. I'm Jerry The Aries, the man behind AFK Cool Down Lounge, where all you guys can come for your inspiration, gaming, memorabilia, nostalgia. I'm also a firefighter, but I'm a gamer, and honestly, I'm probably a gamer first before a lot of things, because the one thing that has always been there has been gaming, and it's never really let me down. It's given me, you can look at it as, say, outlets. I don't like to call it escapism, because I can turn the game off and go back to my living my daily life and trying to achieve my goals and the things that I want to do in life. So ironically, man, the page kind of started. It just started because I was doing it as a post to simply give me time when I couldn't think of other content to come up with. But the genuine comments from gamers really surprised me. I was surprised to see how moved people were by these simple quotes from NPCs, side characters, main characters. And I was like, wow, maybe people actually like this. And, I guess you guys do. I guess we do, man. And then, when you sent me a message, it let me know I was doing something right, especially the field that you're in. You're in the mental health field and you're a gamer. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. This is really something. All right. All right. Okay. So I don't know, anything else you want to know? You want to ask? Yeah, ask me, man. Let me know.
Yeah, man, that was a great introduction. Definitely give a good picture of what you're doing, and yeah, your channel is really awesome. I like both of them, like the philosophy in the game, like the quotes you got going, and then just focusing on the health, because man, I know when I started finding out about what's in our food and just all that stuff, I was like wow, I was just blown away. And so I love that you're talking about that too, because it's so especially gamers chowing down on a bag of Doritos and some Mountain Dew, so common, and it really affects your health. So,
man, this whole thing started off, and that's what this wig is about. It's about being in the moment, man. It's about strategically using being in the moment to actually create healing, because this kind of comes as the light at the end of the tunnel. I found out I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the beginning of my career in the fire service. And it just sent me down a dark path. But I believe God and my gamer mentality is what enabled me to see that as the challenge that it was, and not as the death sentence or the terminal illness, or whatever is the end of my life. I was offered my dream career right at that very moment. And I'm like, I got multiple sclerosis, but if you read anything, any religion that's ever talked to you about God and the possibilities of understanding that there's a higher power, they'll tell you anything is possible. And it led me down this path of finding people who did work in healing at the cellular level with food by eliminating toxins and taking key supplements. But what's ironic about gaming is I've looked into certain supplements for gamers. Actually, you kind of inspired me to do that. And those same supplements that are beneficial and that modulate my immune response are the same supplements that people encourage gamers to take to enhance their gaming, such as MCT oils, any because multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease.
Right.
It's a neurological. And gamers, we're often sleep deprived.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through mental health issues. We're up late, so our dopamine and serotonin and melatonin levels are all off. So a lot of the things that I do to maintain my health, and I mean, if I didn't do those things, I would be laid out on this floor and I couldn't be a firefighter. That's how bad it was. I used to take 2,700 milligrams of gabapentin every single day for nerve pain. I don't take any of that medication anymore. And I have to read the packaging of everything that I shop. And the sad thing is that autoimmune diseases are on the rise in this country. Yeah. And I think I read a statistic somewhere that said this is the first generation not predicted to outlive their parents. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. So I was like, and I see it, and I'm like, and I'm in the fire service. Food is everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm here. I hear people. So many people are contacting me now, and they're like, "What did you say your symptoms were?" And I'm like, "Oh, go get blood work done. Mm-hmm. If you have any viral infections, tooth infections, anything like that, get those taken care of, because it's not genetics that gives way to the disease. It's the toxin exposure. Yeah. And as game, we put ourselves in toxic situations." So I like game responsibly, you know, even think about, you know, changing your gaming schedule, you know, gaming, if you can, you know, try not to game as late, you know, because it's very bad for our health. And I'm living proof of that, because I'd stay up, oh man, till 5 a.m. Sometimes that sun up and you like, ugh, I'm gonna just act like I don't see that sun and just go to bed. Yeah. So, but you know, so that's no, that is a passion of mine, man. I tell that story because you never know who's suffering from autoimmune disease, and I want to let them know that that is not the end of the world. Whether it's lupus, whether it's multiple sclerosis, whether it's what other even schizophrenia is being looked at as an autoimmune disease. Yeah, you know. So food. What does the Bible say? Let thy food be thy medicine. You know. So
yeah, man. I really love that story. It's really inspiring, and it just goes to show you like how much your body can actually heal if you're not full of toxins and you're actually putting good nutritious foods into your body, right? And real quick, I just want to do a shout out. It looks like Mike posted here saying, my bro looking out here like President Camacho. So Mike's saying what's up. And he also said nutrition, cellular health, gut biome, all super important. I'm learning that myself. Then we also got Chris here showing, saying, hey brother, what's up? So we got some people watching, supporting us.
What's
so that's
up,
awesome.
Everybody? Yo.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. Thanks for being here supporting. And yeah, I mean, I really like that story because it's just like there is a lot of people who feel like once they get told something like that, right, they're just like, it's over for me. And I love that you brought like the gaming mindset into that, because like a lot of times like in games, right, like you come across like a boss and you just keep losing. We don't think like, okay, well, I'm just done. Like, no, I'm gonna find a way to beat this boss, right? I'm gonna find a different strategy, right? And that's really what it sounds like. You know, you went down the route of like, well, they told me there's not really a route to do this, but I'm not gonna take that as an answer, right? I'm gonna find a new path. And I love that. That's super awesome. And it's cool that you're doing that. And you're still like, I see you working out, I see you being a firefighter. Like those things are pretty demanding on your body. And it's going to show you like, you can build up yourself and get yourself to that point where you can still do everything, you know, everyone else can do, even more than a lot of people. So
yes,
beautiful.
Man. Hey, like what you're doing, dude, that's so I mean, geez, how did you come up with that idea, man?
Well, I was working with self-sabotage information for a long time about like the mind and like remember like about health. So like I myself was trying to get healthier for a long time and get away from like marijuana and alcohol, and I found myself just sabotaging myself, right? And I just felt really frustrated with the situation because I felt like, you know, everyone says, oh, you just have to have the willpower and the determination, and sure, that's some part of it, but part of it is also just there's a part of our mind that is drawn to the familiar, right? So when you're trying to break free from those things that you've been accustomed to your whole life and everyone else around you is doing, it can you feel a lot of draw to go back and a lot of resistance to go back to your old ways. There's a lot of people sabotage themselves unknowingly and they go back into those things. So I was really into that field, and I kind of hid my like gaming stuff because I felt like in that world a lot of people like look down on gaming, right? A lot of people like in like the coaching world and stuff like, oh, gaming is just bad for you, right? And I always felt kind of off about that because it was a big part of my life as well. And I was like, at one point I was just like, no, I'm going to bring it up into this because I see a lot of gamers struggling. I see a lot, like I know myself as a gamer who's struggling. Like someone needs to speak up, and a lot of these gamers need help. So that's why I was inspired to come on and start this podcast, start doing information about gaming and bring it into the gaming world, because gamers deserve help just as much as everyone else. And I think there's definitely a good path for us to help each other, support each other, and make a better community, like just like we do like in gaming parties and raids and guilds and all that, right? Like we can make we can make each other better. And that's really what I'm hoping for, is like everyone just come together and make something better. So that's why I love you coming on here and sharing the information about health, because it's super cool to hear someone's story about it as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much my backstory as to how I got into all this, and that's why I'm out here talking about what I'm talking about.
Man, you're doing good work, brother, man. And I think gaming, it has some cons. However, oh my God, my 2-year-old is walking away with a dustpan full of cashews. I'm so concerned, right? What's gonna happen? Whatever, live in the moment. But I think, when gamers, you put it in the context, and why the AFK Lounge is what it is, because every gamer has an example of their main character or somebody in the storyline of a game they played that did not stop. And you're the one powering the character. So you that power within yourself to not stop at whatever it is that you see yourself as, wanting to do, whether that's healing, whether that's speaking up when you see something wrong, whether you see what's happening in the world right now. Everybody, that's the most amazing thing. I'm a conspiracy analyst. Okay. I don't like the word theories. I analyze things. I look at the data. That's it's tough right now because it's all buried. But, I think it's so funny. We were training today on the fire ground, and I think 1 o'clock came, and I know everybody's heard this, okay? And some people left their phones, and nobody's really even thinking about it because we're rappelling down the sides of buildings, not worrying about it. But a few people had their phones, and all of a sudden, the warning thing that everybody it goes off, but and nobody talks about it. But as soon as it goes off, everybody says, "Oh, they got me." So everybody is more aware and I'm not saying whether that's true or real. Me personally, I think it's kind of funny. It's a conspiracy I'm not really even gonna spend much time into. But it was interesting that we are all more on the same page than we think we are. You know what I mean? That's the beautiful thing, and I think it's because of social media. It's because of gaming, and we can tune in with people from around the world that we never. And I think gamers have one of the greatest potentials when they look at their main characters that they played with and use those examples for their own life. And when you say, "Dang, okay, man, I hate to admit it." That's why it's called AFK cooldown lounge. Because when you're trying to help and do your part in the world, you probably don't have as much time to game, and that doesn't mean give it up, but that means that, hey, well, how are you the main character in your story? What is your purpose? What problem do you want to solve in the world? Because everybody sees what's happening in the world, whether we're on the same side or not. Dialogue is how we get to a conclusion. And I think gamers have the greatest potential to solve the world's problems just because of our tenacity. How you drop into a game with limited arsenal, limited options, and you're into this boxed in experience, and you use what you have and you get the job done. So I think in just in terms of art, man, like I said, like they're like interactive graphic novels, the music, the score, the writing, all those things, man. I'm like, gaming is a part of history, man, and it's out the bag, and they can't put it back, man. It's amazing, man. I'm glad I love it so much,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of gaming too, and I love the part that you brought up that like while gaming is amazing, you do need to focus on your own life, right? Because I think that is super important, where people just kind of like I love like the conspiracy analyst you talked about, because there is a lot of things going on in this world that a lot of people don't want to face the reality of. And so it's easier just to go into the gaming world and be like, yeah, I don't want to think about that. I'm just going to play some Call of Duty. I'm just going to play some Fortnite. I'm just going to do whatever and not think about what's going on in my life. And it's sometimes easier to do that. But if we do that, then we're going to get under leveled in life. We're going to be behind. We're going to lose our stats, So like we need to focus on ourselves. And, sometimes that means stepping away from gaming for a bit. Doesn't mean you have to give it up, just like you're talking about, but you gotta focus on yourself. You're the main character. And I love that you said that.
Hey, and you know what has been amazing that has given me a new dopamine high, I guess, is being connected to the gaming community.
Yeah.
This way, like I'm seeing so many amazing creators and entrepreneurs in the gaming sphere, like collectors, and I'm like, wow, dude, like we're creating our own universe. I was like, oh man, dude. So my job is to show people, and that's what I used to do music. And one thing I always did, I give people their flowers, man. I'm like, hey, you guys got to know each other. We're here. We've already entered the golden age. We're right here. Everybody's there. Look at how many of us had the same. We're all able to love games so much and communicate on it because we all had played the couch co-ops. That made that many games. I'm telling you, Final Fantasy IX, Zidane Tribal, man, that's where some of my most strongest values on life come from. Just playing with those different characters, seeing Zidane Tribal's love, I guess if you call it that, for Princess Garnet, like that has a lot to do with me and my wife. Like we've been together for 15 years, so I'm like, look at them, and I look at the lessons that I learned from these games, man. And, like I said, I love gaming, and but being a part of this gaming community, it makes not being able to play games as much as I want to, okay. Because I can watch, but I'm like, that's awesome. At least somebody's playing it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. Yeah, those is definitely some good games for sure. And were you playing on PlayStation or where were you playing on? Xbox?
Play on anything, man. I play on Xbox, PS4. I haven't got the 5 yet. I play on what do we got? We got 360, got Sega Genesis, we got PlayStation 1, we got a couple emulators, we got
nice.
All sorts of stuff, man. I'll play anything, man. I'm a big. My favorite genre is probably RPG.
Oh yeah.
How about you? What do you play on?
Yeah, I used to play a bunch of Xbox. Now I'm more really into PC.
Oh, hey, okay.
But I definitely got some emulators on my phone too. So.
Yeah. Oh man, I think they did a study. They said like 87% of all games are actually gone. They're not even in publication, but in emulators have played a role in preserving that history. So I'm like, there's value in emulators, and I'm kind of getting back into, the game. Getting into the gaming community. So I'm kind of interested to see, the views on emulators, and I know Nintendo doesn't like ROMs and all that kind of stuff, and I'm. But I got some emulators on my phone and whatnot.
Yeah, man. ROM hacks, like some Pokemon ROM hacks.
Yeah.
Man, they're better than the original game. I gotta say it. Like I hate to say it, but at the same time, they're just like the fans put so much work and creativity into them. It's just like blows my mind. It's like someone spent so much time to make this game, and it's so amazing. Like it's.
Dude, one of the followers I have, I forget his name. It's like Retro Frames or something. Have you seen that guy?
I don't think I have. I'll have to check him out.
This dude, he takes, like, you've seen like awards, like when they give away a plaque, if you see like MTV Cribs or something and they got a plaque on it and it has like a golden plaque and then the single that was there. He does that with the case, the original case, and then the disc, and he makes like plaques out of these retro games, and it's beautiful. I'm buying one for Final Fantasy IX right now.
Yeah, I love that. It's so many people. Like the more I'm like following people, the more I realize just how many people are like revolving their life around games and making a living out of games, which is really cool. Like it It is really cool. And there's a lot of creativity out there. So I'll definitely have to check out his content. That sounds awesome.
I'll send it to you, man. I think the guy, I think Mike, he's the one who he actually kind of opened my mind to, how big gaming is when I think, what is it, South or North Korea, whichever one, that, like their gamers over there are basically like rock stars.
Oh yeah.
Our rock stars over there, gamers are the rock stars. And I was like, wow, we grew up in a time where people said, put the game down. Meanwhile, everybody was going and getting careers in the gaming field.
Yep.
I was like, oh man, I'm not letting gaming go. You gotta be crazy. Heck no. My kids are playing a Nintendo Switch right now.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, Mike actually had a question here. He said, games have always been a great escape from some of my troubles in life. What's your take on politics working their way into games, good or bad? Metal Gear Solid is a great example, is what he said.
Oh man, he's always got some stuff I don't even know about, man. But I mean, this dude is one of the smartest people you ever meet, man. The PC gamer too.
Oh yeah, nice.
But I watched a couple videos by some people, and I saw some stuff there. Man, they're wanting to get into our party chats and stuff like that, and I think as far as politics and gaming, man, I mean, it's it can be a gray area because politics, they're in so many things. They've been in our games, even as kids, that we didn't know. But how do you, in a two-party system, how do you decide which party you're gonna favor? And I'm like, leave it neutral. Trying to think game neutral as much as you can. That's the thing I like about games is you can experience things that ain't possible in this time. You can't go talk to a faceless black mage, and you can't, go, hop in a Cadillac and go chase and go beat up rescue dinosaurs, But if so I'm like, let games be the wonderful fantasy of our imaginations that they are, which goes back to the writers that you see happening. I hope that doesn't make it into gaming. I don't know, maybe it has, but that's politics right there, but I think we definitely need to honor the arts, which that's what gaming is, instead of, trying to get, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff but those games that get into politics that I just don't play them.
Yep. Yeah. That's a great answer. I mean, I feel like it's inevitable. Like it's going to get pushed into like you said, like it gets pushed into everything, right? Like even if you don't consciously see it, it's probably subconsciously in there. So on some level, but I mean, all we can do is just support. I mean, if you don't feel like good with it, then don't support that game, right? Don't put your money into it. I think that's a big important thing.
I mean, like on my head, man. So I'm American, born American. I love the Constitution. My dad's a political scientist, and we do not agree on politics. But I mean, just freedom, man. Freedom to choice, freedom to experience what you want to experience without having things pushed on you. Especially that's why I think gamers do have to take time away from the game and see what's happening, because politics will make its way into gaming, and it may change the face of gaming. So I definitely think, I think when you look into our schools, they don't teach civics, they don't teach critical thinking, and that's one of the reasons why we're in this situation. It's because people don't really know how to address the problems. They don't know to go to City Hall. I was a union steward as well, so I saw how municipalities work and how what they tell you on TV is not at all. They'll be shaking hands, and they making a deal that screws us. So I'm a big community guy, and that's why I love being a part of this gaming community. It's because people like us, we're what make the world go. Mike pointed out something to me a few years ago, that there was a time when politics we didn't even rely on politicians. Like it was like people didn't put that much emphasis on it, but now we have like celebrity politics, whereas we don't realize your neighbor is the person who you need to be working with. So that, I guess that's my take on it without, going too much into it.
No, yeah, I love that take. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big community person too. I think it's really about like building that community and working within like ourselves and the people around us, the people we connect with, right? Like if we want change in the world, we gotta first work it within ourselves and then help change other people. So that's kind of why I got into this. I'm sure that's why you started your channel too, so you could help other people same way you helped yourself. So yeah, I mean, a really great conversation so far. I really love it. Looks like we got another question here. If you could pick a favorite game, what would it be and why?
A favorite game? Favorite game. Okay. There's an all-time favorite. Ooh, dang, man. These are like 3 different consoles. I'm gonna tell you the 3. Okay. Pokemon,
Yep.
first G, Pokemon Blue.
Nice.
Because I lost that game because I thought a kid stole it from me. And I took his game and I put it in an orange carton. And I thought I had the game, and I accidentally threw the orange carton away.
Oh no.
Bad idea. Don't steal, kids. Don't ever do that. But I love it that much, okay?
Yep.
Another game is Jet Set Radio Future. Jet Set Radio Future. I love that game. It was the first game was when gaming was really taking off in a whole new direction from your regular cartridge games. We had PlayStation and stuff, but Xbox really took it to the next level and just, it was a different, oftentimes with pixelated like retro games and cartridge games, it's like you see platformers, side scrollers, you'll have there's a lot of the same, game styles. Even today, like I feel like games that come out tonight, it's just like, it's like a lot of like what they call them, I forgot what they call them, like just like almost like Fortnite, Call of Duty, it's even Dragon Ball Xenoverse, which I love that game, but it's the same thing. It's like, okay, here's your character, level him up, and then just keep going. And then it's like, it's kind of the same gameplay. So Jet Set Radio Future, it was just a game that you could just go free, skate, tag, do stuff, and it had an interesting storyline. But I think my all-time favorite game is probably Final Fantasy IX. Nice. Probably Final. Just you got 4 discs. And just a story that just keeps on giving, man. It was just, I don't know if anybody, it's tough. Like, I know one of my guys, his is Final Fantasy VII. And I don't know if it's because I was young. I don't know. But I mean, I play that game. I got that game on the Switch. I got it on the PlayStation. I got it on my retro consoles. Final Fantasy IX. That's probably it. That probably takes the cake.
That's
How
awesome.
about you? How about you?
What about me? Oh man, I feel like it's such a hard question because there's like, just like you, like there's so many good games out there, and just like I have a lot of good memories of them. One that I've always been drawn to is I was a big like Blizzard games. I don't know if you know who Blizzard is. Like Warcraft. It's Warcraft 3, like the real-time strategy game. I got down on that game, and same as StarCraft 2. I've always been into those games, but I've played all kinds of games. One that's always had fun with like friends, like when they came over, was Super Smash Bros. You can't really go wrong with Super Smash Bros, right? Like there's some classic games. Like there's just always some good games you can kind of go back to. And then as far as like RPGs, so like I would say probably Skyrim. Or like Oblivion. Like I had some really good times with some of those games, and like modding the games, and like afterwards, like the mods, like that's why I love like the community of gamers. Like when you started like going into modding the games, like the games just become so much better, and I love that. So
when in our GTA group, man, that was one of the things, because we always played just on regular live, but I've seen the GTA, like the mod ones, or GTA Roll.
Oh, like, yeah,
that's so fun, man. It looks so crazy fun. What about, I got 2 games I'll ask you about. Mikey told me about a game. What about the new Diablo?
Oh yeah, I did play that. Man, there's been a lot of controversy around this game. I gotta tell you what, I was actually really big into Diablo for, like, I played 2 a lot, played 3 a lot. The 4th one came out, bought it, super excited, played it for a couple weeks, and then I dropped it. And a lot of people did the same thing. It's, Blizzard, I don't call them Blizzard anymore, to tell you the truth. I call them Activision, because Activision bought them. And I feel like it's changed so much. So I don't know, like I don't feel like if I'm gonna be playing a game like Diablo 4, if you ever heard of Path of Exile, That's the game. Like if you ever want to play like an RPG, Path of Exile, you can spend hours and hours and hours on that game. It is only on PC though. It's free to play, and it's pretty much an amazing game. So I mean, it's hard to compete with that game though. So
this was one. It was a contender. It was a close one, and I mentioned it at the last minute. Maybe you know of it. Me and Mike played this game at work one time, and he smoked me in it. Gauntlet Legends. You remember that? You remember
Gauntlet Legends? I don't think I've heard of that game.
Gauntlet Legends?
No, I don't think I have.
And I'm wrong because I had never played Diablo, and Mike was telling me I need to play that game.
Yep.
And shoot, okay, I just ain't got time to play it. But I think Gauntlet Legends is very similar to Diablo.
Okay.
Fallout 3. That's another one of my favorite games.
Oh yeah, Fallout. I mean, Fallout games are always good classics.
What is the controversy? I don't know if you want to get into what's with the new Bethesda game. What?
Oh, I think the main thing from what I've seen, I actually haven't played it yet, but the main controversy I've seen around like politic wise is that they added like pronouns into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's always people who are super pissed off about that. Some people who are like, why does it even matter? So I don't know.
So option to not use the pronouns?
No, you have to use the pronouns in some way. So I mean, it's kind of forced on you. So I can see why people get upset.
I mean, I guess
I don't know.
Like that's where like even me like with the bathrooms, people were mad about the bathrooms, and when they were allowing people with different gender identifications to and there was this big controversy whether or not they should, and I think that's just another strategic to divide people, because I'm like, why not give them their own bathroom? Yep. I mean, I think they're doing that on purpose to make people pissed off, because as a man, I'm a man. I don't like men, but I feel trusted in revealing myself to like, even when I go to the doctor, if I'm like, I don't really I'm like, I kind of like it sounds weird, but I don't it's certain things I don't want to tell a woman doctor. Like, I'm a man. like, and if you were, your biology says one thing and you identify as another, that's fine. But to me, I'm a little insecure about showing my stuff to somebody who's you may not see this. You may not know what this problem is, man. This is a thing. I need somebody with some testosterone who understands, man, that the mental that this is putting on me right now. Okay. So no, I just think I'm like, so in that situation in the game, I guess if my pronouns are he, him, whatever, then whatever, I'm fine with it. I mean, I as long as you're not forcing me to identify as something that I'm not, then I don't with that, but I understand people's gripe, but at the same time, I also understand that we have gamers that do identify as other things. And if they identify, hey, I still want them to game and have fun,
Yep. Definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm fine with people calling themselves whatever they want. You can just call me Tanner. I'm good with you. You can call me Tanner.
Yo, I just want to be the kid I created. I want to be Lightning Davis, man.
Yep.
Like, I want to be.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a great answer. I mean, really, I think it is about division, right? Like them publicizing all this stuff, and like it's always been about division. So many, like left versus right, black versus white, all that, like, and that's why I love like that we're bringing like the communities together and building that community, and you're all about building community as well. That's how we're gonna overcome things, by just having cool conversations like this and talking it out, right? And like,
and console versus console, man.
Oh yeah, the Xbox versus PlayStation, like.
Oh, the division is killing us.
Oh man, yeah. It looks like we've got some other comments. A lot of them actually. Oh man, just a lot of people talking about what we've been talking about. Looks like Chris says he loves Final Fantasy VIII Special Edition for PS, was one of his best games of all time.
I just saw it at a game store the other day, and I shit about it. Instead, I ended up buying Deus Ex because I never played that. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII, I feel like I have to play it because Final Fantasy 9 was so great. I'm like 7 and 9. How did I miss those? How, how did I miss those? Wow.
Yeah, I've actually missed a lot of the Final Fantasy games, to be honest. I felt like there was just so many of them. And I never had like a PlayStation, so I was like, never really played them much.
Did you, okay, back in the day, Sega or Nintendo?
Well, we had a Sega Genesis, and then we also had an N64, so we had both. But when it came down to like Xbox time, we just never ended up getting a PlayStation. We just had an Xbox.
What game you play though?
What?
The first console.
First console? I think the very first console was a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember watching I have an older brother, and he was playing some Super Mario Brothers, and I was like, man, this is a cool. I'm pretty sure he handed me a controller that was unplugged, and I thought I was playing, but I wasn't, you know?
Oh yeah, that was. Oh, we used to do that to little brothers, time, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we controller underneath that game.
Yeah. But definitely a good game. What about you? What was the first game you ever played?
The first game I ever played was Star Tropics on Nintendo.
Okay.
Which off Zelda. I didn't know that until later, and I couldn't even read, so I couldn't make it past the first stage. Like I couldn't do anything. We had I think my dad got that. It was like I don't know how he got it, but it was wrapped up in newspaper on Christmas.
Oh,
and
wow.
And with Burger Time, there goes the cashews. Burger Time, Tecmo Bowl. My dad used to do that. He would buy a console for himself, but buy us games as well. And I realized my dad and mom, they were so young that I grew up with a gamer dad. Yeah. And my dad knows extensive gaming history. And I'm always like, wow, like I remember there were times, man, we couldn't play the game because they were playing Evander Holyfield's boxing, Tecmo Bowl. But yeah, my cousins, they had Super Nintendos. They had some games, man. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Zelda.
Oh yeah.
Super Nintendo. We had Sega, but looking back on it, Super Nintendo was the clutch system. It was.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to beat like Super Mario Brothers and just like all those games. Like they did have some really good games for sure. And actually, you know, it's interesting. You said like your dad got you like into gaming pretty much. Like my dad, I know, like I remember hearing stories about how he killed Hitler like in Wolfenstein and like the old school like Wolfenstein game. And then they like he used to play like Mech War, like the very like first Mech Warrior on the PC. So I'm sure that's probably why we got into gaming as well too. So.
Yeah, man, gaming it's something interesting, man. It's a you know, that's why I love the 80s, man, because it was just this crazy tech, you know, boom, you know, all this new technology. Did you know there's a National Gaming Museum in Texas?
No.
Yes. And the rooms are themed like what a kid's room would have looked like in the 80s.
Wow.
And it's all of the memorabilia set up. Yeah, I think Waco, Texas, I want to say it is.
Okay. I'll have to check it out if I go down there.
The National Game History Museum.
Wow, that sounds really cool. Definitely like a nostalgia, definitely like a nostalgia trip. Makes me think of like there's a lot of like people I follow on Instagram who just have like some crazy setups like in their like for their gaming setups. They have like it sounds like exactly what you have. Like they have like Mario stuff all over. They have like giant figurines. They have like they have like old school arcades and stuff like that. Did you ever go to like the arcades and play games back in the day?
Yeah, man, we never had money to play the games. We just went and skated, and then like I think I played the Simpsons arcade maybe one time. The Terminator game with the never got to play it. What else? Geez, yeah, my parents was like, go out there and skate. That's why I brought you here.
I love that. So, and I saw actually. Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I saw on your Instagram you were ice skating. Are you big into skating?
No, you know, hey man, you know, we grew up in the '90s, man. So any X Games S type thing, I'll do it, man. Nice. I'm like, but we got an ice rink right up the street. I forget the name of it, but me and my wife, we did that for our anniversary. But no, man, I'm trying to get my son into rollerblade, and I just found a razor scooter at the pawn shop.
Nice.
You know, I'm all about, that's why, it's correlate the same thing to games. It's like, go out and adventure, man.
Mhm.
Go out, get out there. So yeah, I'll do anything, man. I got a kid over here hiding in the corner.
Yeah, it's super cute. I see them. They're popping their head up every once in a while. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I used to play ice hockey back in the day, so I was all about skating. But that's awesome that you are getting your kids outside and doing more activities. That's super cool.
You skate?
Yeah, I used to play ice hockey, so
What?
like competitive
Okay.
ice hockey.
Goes, bro.
Oh yeah. So
what do you what's your where do you see your business going, with your mental health game? I noticed because I wanted to do something for my followers, my first 100 followers. If any of you guys are listening, thank you. And I just wanted to find a way to say I appreciate them, even
right.
promo or something from, and I noticed there were like actual companies that, are that do donated games to kids in hospitals and things like that. So, I don't know. What do you see what you're doing? Where do you want to go with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, right now I focus on helping people one-on-one. Probably like long term, maybe like set up like big seminars where people can come, or like in-person events, where we can join that as like a gaming community, and I can help multiple people, and we can like game out and have like I remember like back in the day I used to go to like lockouts, or I think they used to be called, and you like go into like a game like a PC like place and like stay up all night playing games. Something similar to that, where like everyone just has like their computers or gaming systems in the same area, a bunch of TVs, and we can all like play games, and then we can all focus on. Oh, looks like we lost him. Hold on 1 second here. He'll be back. But Mike, no, I haven't seen the Sega Tower. Sounds pretty awesome though. Genesis 32 times Game Genie, Sonic 3, and other Sonic games. Oh man, Sonic was a classic game for sure. I loved Sonic. I think I played pretty much all of them. Once I started going to like the GameCube, I remember my friend had a GameCube, I didn't. I went to go play some Sonic with him there, and that was a good time. I wonder if his phone died or his laptop died. Oh, here he is. Okay. Hey, he's back.
Oh man, I couldn't leave, bro. Dang, that probably cut the stream off, didn't it?
No, the stream's still going. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, my dad was calling. My gamer dad was calling, and I thought I could send a text message to tell him I was calling back, and it ended the whole thing.
Oh no.
I was like, I almost snatched the wig off, man. I was like, oh no.
Well, no problem. Yeah, we're all good. I kept it going. So yeah, I mean, so my main goal is to like help as many people as possible. So I will try to scale it up when I get to that point, and then get more people to work with me and to help me help other people too. So like I see it growing big, and then hosting maybe community events like and giveaways and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited just to take it as far as it can go and help as many people as possible. So that's my main mission.
I definitely see you being a leader, man, in the gaming community with what you do, man, and how open you are to talking to people, man. I'm gonna share you with as many people, because I've even noticed, just in a short time, I've noticed, I'm like, I've had a few people, say, kind of express, that they may be in a dark place in their life, and I'm a person. I'll hop in your DMs and have a conversation with you, and just, if I guess, talk you off the ledge, and I've seen, it's been a confirmation that there is work to be done in the mental health department as far as gaming, and that's just letting everybody know, hey man, we are a community, we all, so. But you got power, man. Look, like I say, look at the main character in one of your favorite games.
Yep.
And life like that character. You
Yeah.
know, like I was out there tying those ropes today on that, man. I'm like, man, and it just, I don't know if I was drawn to gaming because I'm a natural person who rises to the challenge, or if the gaming gave me that, you know. But either way, man, any challenge, look and treat it the same way you treat your favorite video game. The high score.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. I love that viewpoint. Like, you are the main character, right? And I'm a firm believer that we all have that inside of us. I think gaming does help cultivate it, right? Like, but and a lot of us don't realize like that. Hey, gaming is so helpful in a lot of ways. Like, there's a lot of people who look down on it, like outside of the gaming community, and a lot of people don't within the gaming community don't realize how that like actually correlates to real life. But like, hey, you just overcame a bunch of challenges in the game world. You were determined. You had focus, right? Like, you were able to focus on the things that you want to be doing. So maybe you just have to find something that you like to be doing in real life, and feeling good in that and feeling that progress. So, you know, I actually built like a whole program around, like, it's like built around a game. It's actually called Unleash the Hero Within. And so like when people work with me, it's all about like helping them create that, like, because the cool thing about games, right, is like you have a quest line, right? You have like, you know exactly what you need to do to be able to progress, to be able to level up. You see like in like an XP bar, right? So you're like, hey, I kill this many more boars, I go do this quest, and I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna feel good about it. I'm gonna get a stat increase, right? So I built my program around that same idea. Like, people need a quest line, people need a main goal. So like it's about like helping people build that main goal, and then like taking on, like, going through different levels of the game, which is real life. So you'll love this. One of the levels is like the toxic swamp. And it talks about all the toxins that we face within real world, and about learning how to overcome and protect your body from, you know, the real world, all the toxins, like the food system and the water supply and the air and like all that. So it's pretty comprehensive.
No, yeah, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. You came up with that, man. And that's where I think gamers, you got, like you said, you got to look at life like that, because and that's, it does come into play, because many of these same politicians that'll tell you that they are for going green or saving the planet, they're the same ones that are allowing toxins like glyphosate, which is you're around your food, and man, I kid you not, if I eat food, I mean, with me, I'm like the mage in the story who, or I'm like Obi-Wan Kenobi after he's already gone, and he can come back to you and tell you the wisdom of what not to do, because my disease process has already began. Now I'm going through the healing process. I can eat a piece of whatever it is. I'll know in a minute and 20 seconds whether or not it's something that my body can tolerate, or that is going to eventually build up in a toxic load.
Yep.
And eventually I mean, whoo, man, so I think gamers have to look at who is the final boss in your life.
Yep.
Who's the final boss in your community? And not to say you're looking for the boogeyman, but in all honesty, we have been conditioned to be passive and not understanding our role in civics. I know it's boring to sit there and read the city municipality or pay attention to these bills that they're passing. I know, but there's gamers amongst gamers who do have the mindset for those things. Yeah. And we got to inspire each other, motivate each other, help each other heal, so that when that opportunity presents itself, we understand you got the power to change that. But it don't get changed if you steady thinking that, oh, I could never do what this character in this game did. You were the one powering the character.
Yep. Man, yeah, so that I love it. I really do. I really love that like what you were talking about there. Like it is really about like that awareness of what's going on, right? Because like it's just like in a video game, like if you're not aware of the things that are taking away your health, if you're not aware of some guy shooting, if you're not aware if you're standing in some kind of toxic pool, right, and your life slowly draining down, then you're gonna lose the game. And that's the way it is in the real life, right? Like that's what you experienced yourself. And then once you started to have that awareness and took yourself out of it, you got your health back. You're starting to build up and you had that healing. So I really am a big believer in that. Like I did that same thing in my life. Luckily I never got to the point that, you did with your health. But I was starting to go down that path. Like if I didn't change anything, things would have gotten a lot worse for me. And I know, like, to your point about like society just having the most like just problems in general that it's ever had, right? Like people really need, like I always ask myself this question, ask other people this question, just like a question to ponder, right? Even though we have the most advanced technology, the most easiest supply of getting food so that we've never had access to before, like you can get foods out of season, right? You can get foods, you have refrigeration, you have more sanitation than ever. We still have the highest rates of disease, obesity, cancer, depression, anxiety, addiction. Why? It's because there's something going on within our society that's not being addressed. And so I think the awareness around that is just so important. I love that you're talking about that. And like when I was looking through your Instagram today and like in the past, it's just like, yes, thank you for speaking up, because more people need to speak up about that stuff and be aware of what's going on. It's
and look at how it affects you and start there.
Mm-hmm.
Because and that's amazing that you were able to do that. That it didn't take you, and maybe it did, and I kind of wonder, and I guess that's the message is that in your darkest hour, it is not over.
Oh yeah.
Because it was not over. I wasn't gonna gamers. We know what game over means.
Mm-hmm.
When game over, it's game over. That means you don't have any tries left. But as long as you got tries left, you got to continue. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from gaming and comes from what's up, man? Say what's up, man.
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
He's got his hand. That's here, man. What's up?
I love it.
So yeah, man. That's that's where my passion comes from, man. This crazy thing is I would have never figured it out had what happened to me not happened. Yep. There was no way, because when the doctors told me my diagnosis, they pretty much said, I took the information to my current doctor. They shut the door and said, hey, we agree with you. Mm-hmm. It's the big hospital that we work for that doesn't. If you are healing yourself with food, you're doing more than we can, because we only spend 10 hours of our studies on nutrition.
Yep.
And then they gave me their doctor. Their doctor is a holistic doctor. Mm-hmm. Who's for buying insurance. Your average person can't afford that, but the doctors who are giving you the drugs can. And the thing about drugs, they stay on shelves a whole lot longer than healthy foods do.
Yeah, man, that's a great perspective. And to your point about like the holistic health, so important, right? Like looking at your body, big picture. Actually, there's this book right behind me, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. I don't know if you've ever heard of Paul Chek. He created the Chek Institute, and it trains people on holistic health. Yeah, I definitely recommend you check him out. Paul Chek. I'll even send it to you. I actually got a health certification with him, because when I went through a hard part with my life, I wanted to learn as much about health. And when I started learning about what was in our food, I was like, okay, I got to learn more, right? So I went to someone directly who could teach me more. And yeah, it's kind of appalling what's in our food. Like a lot of things are banned in Europe that's in our food, like food dyes, like red dye 40, like so much stuff in our food. And even in Europe, right, like there's still things in their food. But it's probably a little bit better. But I mean, the pesticides, the herbicides, the glyphosate, like it is unfortunately like an like assault on us, and we need to protect ourselves. Like just like you said, like they are a real world boss, and it is like a raid boss, really. Like we got to team up.
You know what's so funny? And I don't know if you played Sonic.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about many of the games that we played, I wonder, what were they trying to tell us? Because Dr. Robotnik, his war against nature to mechanize the world, that kind of sounds very oddly similar to Dr. Wily from Mega Man. I mean, you know, because we know technology can be used for good, but I was like, wow, you have Knuckles the Enchanter trying to protect the emeralds in the island. I was like, were they trying to warn us? Because one thing we got to remember, these have been going on longer than we've been alive.
Definitely.
I mean, and that's one of the things that is so detrimental, and people need to realize is our collective memory has been strategically short. We don't understand that the medical industry was heavily influenced by philanthropy from John D. Rockefeller. And he literally changed the books about what the people who were going to school to study medicine were being taught. And literally allow, you know, his interest in the petroleum industry influenced and actually changed many of the natural remedies that used to be. And when as far as even when, you know, I don't want to get too far into it, but, you know, I mean, this was common knowledge at a time. But if you control the politicians, if you control this, you can say, hey, take this out of the education books, take the trades out of the schools. Matter of fact, put the trades in schools and make people pay $80,000 to become a plumber. None of this stuff is conducive to life. So it's not conducive to communities at all. You know, so I'm like, hey, figure out how you can address the final boss in your life, in your city, in your community, wherever it is, because there is one. And I would, like I said, I wouldn't wish what I have on my worst enemy, because most people would not have figured it out. So I'm just here to tell people, hey, as a final boss in my life, he's probably affecting yours. I'm trying to do something about it, but I need my fellow gamers, because I know if we knew how bad this really was, we would definitely be saying, oh, hold on.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think it's, yeah, I mean, it's spot on what you're talking about, right? Like, we need more people to be aware. And that's why speaking up about it is so important, right? Like, these are raid bosses. We need more people to be able to take it down, but it starts with you. It starts with you. Like, that's where real change starts, is within yourself. Once you change yourself, you can show other people, hey, I did this. You can do the same. Like,
raid boss. I like
that. Exactly.
It takes a Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, yeah. Gotta get my fried chicken. Oh, man, that's awesome.
Oh, wow, man. This is awesome, bro. Awesome.
We got a interesting comment from Mike. They dump fluoride in our water supply. We have a long way to go to get our food to be healthy, but it's hard when the FDA is funded in a big party by the companies it's supposed to be regulating. And yeah, I mean, that sums it up, right? Like, who's funding all the research? Who's funding the FDA? Who's funding the CDC? Who is running all this, right? And how come they're not protecting us? We know glyphosate Roundup is poisonous. How come it's still being sold on the shelves? We know fluoride's harmful to your body. Why is it in the water?
Either it's intentional or it's incompetence. And either one, you got to get out of office, man.
Yep.
So yeah, I told you, man, that dude Mike, that's one of the smartest guys on this planet.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a good comment for sure. Yeah, I mean, great conversation. I really enjoy it. I could probably talk like this all night long. Like, I'm super into like what we're talking about for sure.
Dude, our game chats, man. Yeah, this is how they would go, man. I mean, shoot, I know you saw what happened in Canada.
Oh yeah.
When they accidentally allowed a former Nazi, they prayed. They came. I was like, nobody vetted that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm actually Canadian. I was born in Canada and raised in America. So I was like 7 months old when I moved here. I'm a dual citizen now, and yeah, I wouldn't move back to Canada if I had the chance, because it's just crazy over there. Like,
wouldn't?
No.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I got a few of my gamer partners.
Hmm.
They're up in Canada, and yeah, I think they didn't. They just like take their first their because they already had strict gun laws.
Yeah.
Like basically take them away now or something. Or
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's happening to the gun, but like, there's definitely a lot less freedoms down there. And like Trudeau, like without getting
yeah,
too much into politics, like he's like praised China, like Communist Party China before, and like we should do more things like them, like a dictatorship, and like it's just, and like the whole last 3 years, like they locked people in the houses, and like it was worse than what was happening here. So like,
I mean I can touch on these topics as far as just from the simple basis that how are we going to be in favor of a style of government that we didn't even really learn about in school,
yep,
and the information that's growing on them are really I'm blown away because I didn't understand the growing rate of communism in America. I didn't understand it. I thought it was just really a boogeyman argument,
mm-hmm.
and until because I have cousins who kind of identify with that, and I kind of started looking at what capitalism really is and what money really is, and I'm like, yeah, capitalism. What screws capitalism up is this debt system that we live in.
Yep.
That's what screws or capitalism up. It's not because ultimately you can live off the land. I mean, that you can. There's literally everything is actually free. Like, but if we have a debt based system, we're literally born into debt.
Oh
But
yeah.
what is it's money that people who control money get to make up. But I can't make up money. So how come they can make up money? That doesn't. So if capitalism is so bad and well it's tied to the people who control the money, then how about we get rid of that actual money system and maybe go back to a barter system and something that trades skill for trill. Well, but my bad, the trades are in the colleges, which the people can't even afford to go to college. So well, I guess we're stuck again, aren't we?
Yeah, man, it's definitely messed up. I totally agree. I think like we have to back our money supply with something, and we need to get our school system,
Yes.
out of like
My
the
kid,
brainwashing centers. Oh,
my,
wait.
kid,
So what did you say?
my kids are homeschooled, man.
Nice, I love it.
It's like, oh man, dude. And I was homeschooled my last year in high
Okay.
school, and the best I ever did in high school. Ever did. GPA shot up. They actually had me doing commercials for it was a brand new program. But it's sad. I want to be able to trust in our education system, but it didn't work out for me.
Yep. It's unfortunately I feel the exact same way. I feel like it goes like, the way I think about it is like we get told that we have to go do something we don't want to do from like 9 or for the majority of the day, to go away from the people that we love the most for the majority of the day, and then you have to go to the bathroom, you have to ask for permission. It's a power structure. If you give an answer that's slightly wrong, it's the wrong answer. Like, it's they don't inspire you to learn, they inspire you to get taught, right? So you don't have that, like, your passion for learning gets just excuse my language, just crapped on, right? And like, you're so I mean, I'm going back into homeschooling. My son, like my 1.5 year old, we're going to do really unschooling, which is like child-led learning is what we want to do. So it's like, no, like, taking school out of the equation and just focusing on what he wants to learn about, and then providing like the resources so he can learn as much as possible, right? And encouraging that, which fosters, like, I've done a lot of research into it. There's actually this book called Unschooled behind me here, and I've been like, I used to hate reading books when I was in school because I was forced to read things I didn't want to read, right? And then when I got out of school and I was able to choose to read things that I wanted to read, I started to like reading again. Who would have thought, right? It's
Wow.
it's when you're not forced to do things, you're gonna like it a little bit more, right? And so I'm a big believer that our school system is just training us to be another cog in the machine, right? Look at how many people work 9 to 5 jobs that they hate, that they're living paycheck to paycheck in, but they feel like that's normal because they've been taught to do so in school. Like,
Yeah. And not taught the value of what money is. People
yeah,
think if they go get a job, they're that they have no value, and it's like, no, you are the value.
yeah.
You are the value. This piece here on my necklace, this prayer bead, is more valuable than a paper dollar. This is actually wood. I mean, if push come to shove, I could use it as fire if I needed to. It actually has a tangible value.
Yep.
The piece of paper, it has much less valuable than this is. You know, there I can find a whole bunch of different reasons for. I have a copper necklace. It's made of copper, however, but we know copper is in all sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you said, our money does need to be back to something. But my point is, you are the value. Look at yourself. That's why I say, like, how once again, how are you the main character of your story? This universe gave you gifts, talents. You know, and my mom said this. What would you do if what would you do? What was the one thing you would do that you would do for free? And sharing my things that I enjoy, you know, about my love for gaming is one of those things. And for some reason, people tend to like it. So I like when you do something that you really love to do, man. I mean, you know, you don't always have to get paid for something you want to, but you know, once again, like you got more valuable than that simple 9 to 5 job. And it can just be something you do on the side, you know, just to, you know, but don't, because when you find something you love to do, you won't even be mad at that 9 to 5 anymore. You know, but honestly, firefighting it was not my first choice of things to do. It was not. It was in my character. Once again, hero-like mentality from gaming. So it was natural for me to go into that.
Do you see yourself staying in firefighting long term, or do you have plans for the future?
You know, maybe in a different division, you know, because the more and more I learn about my condition, we are exposed to probably far too many toxins than, I mean, you know, just the chemicals from the combustion process. You know, I mean, man, dude, we went to a fire the other day that was at a dump, like I'm working on, I think of the term, where you do like a dump. Geez, I'm drawing a blank right now.
No, you're good.
Call it you pull it here, where people drop off old cars and whatever.
Oh
and
yeah, like a garbage heap or something.
Yeah,
junkyard.
Old car. You know, so this place caught on fire, and firefighters, man, we got this bravado, man. And I'm like, dude, what? They tell you to put your mask on, man. These things are so bad for you, you know. But everybody's walking around breathing in these toxins and all this, and cancer is very high in the fire department. Our gear, the gear that we have right now, is loaded with PFAs, cancer causing. Man. And so, for me personally, I probably try to get into the public education department, or you know, I got other passions too, you know, keep working on those, you know. Yep. And that's really why I love what you do so much, because had I not been intimidated by the debt and the length of college time, I probably would have gone into mental health and psychology, you know, but I was just like, oh, college, freaking debt. And then, you know, they want you to go. I don't know if you guys have it like that. Like, in order to go to school, like for what you want to do, you have to go through this circle of taking things that have nothing to do with what you're trying to do. Like, I'm like, what is reading? And I mean, not reading. What is arithmetic, calculus, and all these things? I'm not saying they're not important, but they're not important to the field that I'm going in.
Yep.
I want to be a psychiatrist where I have to do maybe, you know, prescribing medicine, but there's not, you know, to me, I think that's a deterrent for, because what ends up happening, and I saw this happen maybe I saw it happen maybe over 10 years ago. It's like, it seems like this is creating a phenomenon where people who are only focused on, motivated by money, will go into being teachers, being doctors, and they don't care to go home and do the research as to whether or not this drug is actually detrimental to people.
Yep.
And if you had a situation where doctors didn't make 1 billion times more money than average citizens, you probably would see people who would do it for a labor of love. And if they didn't have to, you know, if you screwed up and you weren't the best student in college, now you have to get $125,000 in debt. I feel like I won because I don't have no debt. I got a house that's under market value. I'm like, hey, I avoided the debt and I got a decent career. Now I just got to find out how to not get cancer, which which hey, my diet is helping me there. You know, so now I don't know. I do love the job. It's probably one of the best schedules you could have in the world. We work 6 days. We work 24-hour days, and we got 6 days off, and we basically only work 10 days a month.
Wow.
So it's. But I'm gone from the family for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like being a firefighter, but I like gaming more.
Well, I mean, I can always see, I can see you doing something similar to me where you're helping people with health, so that might be a route you can go down because people need health. People need.
You point me in the right direction, man. I'll start looking, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in like starting your own thing. Like I actually work 9 to 5 as well. And then I have this, I'm building this up as my own. So I want this to be my full-time thing. Because, that's really where my passion is, right? So I just think of my job right now as like part of my dream team is what I like to think of it as. A part of my team that's helping build my dream. So I used to have a pretty negative mindset, got like pretty bad depression when I was working in a job I disliked. And I realized I had to change my mindset like hardcore because like I kept getting like super bad like stomach aches and like knots in my stomach and just felt like terrible every time I'd go into work. Till one day I just quit because I just couldn't take it anymore. And I know it was all in my head because, well, I mean, I know partially like I just didn't like that job, but a lot of it was created in my head because I was making it worse with the things I was telling myself, right? So like I'm a big believer in like changing your words, and that's why I have I am enough behind me on the whiteboard there, because I'm a big believer that all of us are enough how we are right now at this very moment. And some people believe like, oh, if I'm enough, then surely I'm just going to sit there and not do anything all day, right? If I believe I'm enough, I'm not going to do anything. It's like, no, that's the opposite. When you believe you're enough, you're going to start to feed yourself better food. Like, oh, I'm enough. I don't deserve to put this crap food in my body. I deserve to put some high nutritious foods in my body because I deserve it. I'm enough. Oh, I'm enough. I don't deserve to stay up all late and treat myself, like crap. I deserve to get some good rest so I can heal myself. Oh, I'm enough. I deserve to find someone who loves me, right? I'm enough. I deserve to work in a job I like and get out of this depression, right? So I'm a big believer in the words that you use, and how much that can change your life. But yeah, I mean, I know for sure that you be good helping other people. Like I see your content is like you're already doing it. So like I mean, to your point, like you don't have to get paid for it, but like when you put an energy out into the world, energy will come back to you, and that's really all money is, right? Money is energy. So
that's why I put this wig on, bro, because I was like, dog, I got a whole character that's designed around. I was like, let me just go ahead and do it and just see what happens, bro. It's like I gotta stop. I was like, man, we're about to do this, man. Lightning Davis, man.
Yeah.
Work warrior.
For sure. Yeah, you actually caught me by surprise at first. I was like, whoa, who is this? And then I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Throw him off, man. He was like, is that really him?
Yeah. I was like, he looked different in his photo. I was like, he didn't have the long hair. Where that came from? But yeah, no, it's really cool. It definitely makes me think of like the 80s. And I love that. Like, I think it was a good time. People were more about community and connection then, so.
And they were, man. That was when people were so used to playing outside that they would put the game down and still go outside.
Yep.
Now you have a whole generation that doesn't even know what outside is. Mm-hmm. And now we have to remind them, hey, man, life can be just like that video game. You are the main character, So yeah, man, that's the theory, man, behind AFK Cool Down Lounge. It's really, man, it's for people who don't have time to game, but you still love the gaming aesthetic, and it also the inspiration will keep you on the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, that's the purpose of that page.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the gaming quotes that you're taking from there and like the aesthetic you got going on for sure.
Super important. And to anybody, man, who's suffering from autoimmune disease, this is in the video, I follow the Walls protocol. It's a doctor, she's out of Iowa, a doctor named Terry Walls. Back in 2008, she was diagnosed with progressive, relapsing, remitting multiple sclerosis. And she, basically followed everything the doctors told her to do because she is a doctor. None of it worked. And then she now to this day, they banned her from the medical industry at first. Now they endorse her with billions of dollars to lead the studies in this gut microbiome, autoimmune area that a lot of that stuff that you're hearing is coming off of her studies. You know, so I tell people the Walls Protocol, man. And the funny thing you said about mentality, what was interesting is she went from being textbook doctor to all of a sudden studying and reading peer-to-peer studies on these alternative remedies and seeing, no, there's actual science to changing your mentality, to working with your energy. Even Reiki is beginning to be used in hospitals now, you know, so yeah, man, you know, mentality is everything. And when you said, I was like, I got to drop that book, you know, the Walls Protocol, man. Anybody, you know, tell them that, man, whether it's lupus, whether it's schizophrenia or alopecia or polycystic ovarian syndrome, all of these things. Essentially, we all have the same disease. It's just the autoimmune system at some point decides that it can't tell the difference between its own flesh and a foreign object. You know, so essentially that's really that's the whole body breaking down, whether it's heart failure, anything. It's just the body is like, well, I got to get rid of this. You know, so the diet is basically, it's a keto paleo diet. Stay in ketosis, and I live off of high quality meat and super colorful vegetables, organ meats, liver, heart, kidney, all those things. Heart is fantastic. I don't know if you ever had it. My heart is amazing, amazing, but it has some of the minerals that you can't get anywhere else, like coenzyme Q. Super important for brain health, neurological function. Gamers, start eating some cow heart, man. Like your favorite character in Elder Scrolls, man. I know they were eating heart, drinking mead.
Oh yeah, man, I love that. Yeah, actually, I don't eat. I actually haven't had heart yet. I do eat liver because I know the quality of that. But I mean, yeah, even just like there's a book I have that talks about like this guy, like this dentist goes back to like went to like try to like decide like, well, his dad died of like teeth like disease, and so he wanted to just like understand like, why did my dad die? Like he was a dentist, like he knew all about health and stuff, and so he started going to like the like aboriginal like tribes like Eskimos and things like that, pretty much people who hadn't been touched by modern society, and looked at what they were eating and how their health was different than ours. And he realized that, hey, it's what we're eating that really directly affects our health, right? So a lot of those tribes would eat like raw cheeses, which we're all pasteurizing everything now, right? Like we're all scared of, oh, the diseases in the cow's milk. Well, if you have a strong, healthy cow, you don't need to pasteurize the milk, right? You want the enzymes. If you pasteurize, it kills all the good enzymes, and you don't get any benefits of the milk in the first place, right? Or the cheese. So like I have raw milk, raw cheese, and like Aboriginal tribes, like if they killed like an animal, they would go for the organs first because they had really high nutrients, right? So like to your point,
any animal that's laying on the side of the road, the first things that are gone are the organs.
Yep.
The hunt lions, the male lion, the king lion, whatever you want to call him, what he gets is the organs. Everybody else gets muscle tissue, maybe even bone, you know, but yeah, and that's what we mainly eat is muscle tissue, you know. So, and that's another thing. If you are eating meats, I tell people, try to get as grass fed as you can.
Yes.
Avoid the nitrates, all that stuff. Those things they're so bad for you. It's unbelievable. Like these things literally stop your body from absorbing nutrients. So even if you think you're eating healthy, you're not even getting the nutrients.
Yep.
I'm like what I think, like, and I was a oatmeal, Mike, he could tell you, I was hell on a box of oatmeal cream pies, man.
I saw that post.
I
saw your post about that. Yeah.
Anything oatmeal, brown sugar, raisins, cinnamon in it, but oatmeal, it actually binds to your intestinal lining and stops the absorption of nutrients. Crazy. My whole family grew up on oatmeal, and the crazy is the symptoms that I have, they have smaller symptoms of them, and I'm like, oh, it's not the genetics that's inherited; it's the dang diet.
Yep. Oh man, yeah, I completely agree with that. Actually, there was a man named Dr. Bruce Lipton. If you haven't looked into him, I highly recommend him. He talks about like the subconscious mind, which I talk about a lot, but he also talks about, he was one of the pioneers of epigenetics, which
I've heard but it's beyond me.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you real quick because it's pretty easy to explain. So epigenetics is the study that your beliefs and your environment directly affect your genes. So pretty much when epigenetics started to come about, it was pretty much disproving the fact that your genes control your life, right? It changed it from being a victim to like, hey, I have power to change this.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so like pretty much what he's found, like he was a cell biologist, right? And he was told like in the same training, because he got trained through medical school and all that stuff, all about like, oh, you know, your genes control. And then something like, this is like a long story, but like he ended up going down the path of learning about quantum physics somehow, which most cell biologists don't ever touch like anything other than like biology, right? And that's where he had the epiphany of, hey, everything's actually speaking to each other, right? So everything is energy. So what we knew before quantum physics was that everything was just made up of atoms, right? Like protons, electrons, neutrons. With quantum physics, we know everything there's something smaller than the protons, electrons, and neutrons called quantum particles. And those are essentially just energy vortexes, meaning that everything is made up of energy, meaning that your energy that you carry around, like pretty much I'm made of the same exact thing as this computer screen, as you, as the words coming out of my mouth, the thoughts in my head, everything is energy. So that means when I'm speaking right now, I'm creating something. So like not to get like too like religious or anything, but like if you're into God or something, like God, the creator, made it so that we can create. Like what's one of the main amazing powers he gave us is that we can create our own reality.
It says in the book, we're created in his image.
Yeah, exactly.
Religious friends. I have a friend who just finished ministry school, and you know, I grew up in the church, but I'm not Christian by most definition, because you know, I study things and I also question a lot of things.
Yep.
But whereas he will confirm the things that I'm dealing with food and on a cellular level, in treating my disease at a cellular level, like you said, those epigenetics, that's the arsenal, that's the tool cache that the ultimate master of the game gave you.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm telling you the final boss is attacking you at a cellular level, what are you gonna do about it?
I love it.
You got to do something. That's the scary thing. I'm like, yo, this isn't even. I mean, I was like, hold on. So now I got to look at my kids because they have the same genetics as me. And I'm like, whoa, we got to get back into hunting. We got to get back into it, which fortunately I am a hunter. My grandfather, I was blessed to have a grandfather who taught me to hunt, you know, so, but we got to get back to foraging. We got to get back to all those things. Like one thing I'm doing right now is I'm taking up how to grow mushrooms, because my city is super integral for the fungal network. That's one of the most amazing things to me, is that trees communicate via the fungal network. Like, that's amazing. Going back to what you just said, it's like everything is energy. And yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, geez, man, I tell you, buy that book, The Walls Protocol.
Okay.
Because how she breaks down, she talks about epigenetics. The book is like, it's like this thick. And I've had to learn it through being a firefighter. I found this out at the beginning of the academy. I've only been a firefighter for about 2 years. So I've been tweaking my diet and having, you know, at one point in time, I thought I had celiac disease. So I was like, oh yeah, gluten-free Oreos. Yeah, baby, I'm back in business. And then out of nowhere, the toxic load just, wow. I was like, oh, what happened? I think I need a backiotomy. And it was bad, but it takes you about 3 to 4 months to get those toxins out of your system, because trans fats, they literally they send confused messaging to your DNA it's messenger RNA,
Yep.
and but they literally trick the trans fats literally send broken messages to your DNA to do stuff that they're not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. Scientists, there's no way you can do that accidentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's unfortunately none of it, in my opinion, is like accidental. Like it can't be at this point because it's literally everywhere. So like whether people are just ignorant to it, like who are part of it, or they know it and they're too scared to speak up. Like to be fair, there's a lot of people who like do speak up about it and they get their medical license revoked, right? They get shunned and get called a quack, right? So or like there's some kind of blacklist where a lot of people, like medical doctors who speak up about it, die due to weird accidents like suicide or like other things like that. Like, and so like I'm sure there is people trying to silence other people, but that's why we need more of us to speak up about it because they can't stop us all, right? Like,
speaking of politics, I know you saw. Maybe you saw the case of Missouri versus Biden.
the impeachment.
No, this was I don't even know who initiated this in the fifth circuit. I want to say it was called, and they basically put a lawsuit into play, and they actually won. So it was good for free speech. They basically accused the Biden administration of basically, how can I say, coercing the major social media networks to censor true and critical information that was critical at the time of the pandemic. And actually, it actually won in favor of. But there's some weird laws on the back end that they're trying to allow these. I want to say certain government bodies to steer the direction of, like, I think certain articles and studies and things, but that was a win for freedom of speech. That just happened a couple weeks ago, I say. So as far as censoring, yeah, I mean it's documented, but like I said, it's like we're living in a time of extreme yellow journalism where everything is censored, and I'm like, I mean, it's already been shown with the Twitter files showed that Google is a backdoor to pretty much certain government, the CIA and things like that. It's not at this point. It's sad that nobody should be for censorship. I don't care, man. If you have the most wildest opinions against me, I don't care. Like, you got the right to say that, and then let's discuss whether or not that's true or not. The censorship, that's one thing. It's like, because if that will make its way into gaming, and then gaming will be very limited, very bland, and I'm like, no, you're not gonna. You come on, man. I think over in China, in their social credit system, if you don't do certain things, they actually limit how many games you can play.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh heck no.
Yep.
So as gamers, we love our games. So if nothing else, we better say something about that, please.
Yeah, man. Like I totally agree with you. And actually, I've had a couple of my videos banned off YouTube, actually. Where I was talking about the injection. So
you might have to edit this video.
I mean, it's going out there, so I guess we'll see what happens. But like,
hey, I said when you said you gonna put on Rumble, I was like, yeah, baby.
That's why, because like Rumble hasn't banned anything, but YouTube has given me 3 strikes already. So yeah, so they don't like when we talk about the truth. Unfortunately.
And I hate I'm gonna just say it because I am living proof of what's happening. What happens with the body when it sees something as a foreign object.
Yep.
With a specific batch of the shot was mRNA. We know all of them were not. We know what messenger RNA or the whatever that technology that does is it tricks the body to creating whatever the spike protein or whatever. If that won't shut off because they're finding that it's still in the body 6 months or however long, it's not supposed to be in the body that long. If a woman who has a miscarriage and pieces of that fetal material stay in her body, that can trigger her to develop an autoimmune disease. So what do you think a synthetic, genetically, CRISPR technology made shot can do? What do you think the potential for it to do? That's not even, if a woman's own organic material can do that, how is it possible that this shot is not possible of doing that? Why is it that all of a sudden the possibilities stop? I mean, so I'm like, well, I've had a lot of people come to me after having said shot, and they're the ones who now have Guillain-Barré syndrome. I can tell you of certain people on my job that are the reason why certain careers were not forced to get the shot, because certain individuals actually developed certain autoimmune diseases, and they recognized and said, yeah, we're not going to force everybody to get this shot, but just stay hush about it, because we don't want the media, because there were certain news outlets that were trying to highlight.
Oh yeah.
Geez,
yeah,
man.
it was that whole situation is super frustrating, and man, it is like, that's why we need more people to speak up about it, right? Like once they started saying like, just trust the science, don't even look into it, just trust us. It's like, we learned in school, like, even though school, I don't believe in a lot of what school does, we learned that the scientific method is to not trust the process, is to question it. So how come you guys telling us just to trust it? You never trust science. You always try to disprove it. You always try to they don't want people to talk about things. They don't want discussions like this. That's why they're censoring, right? Like,
trying to debunk religion since the beginning of time. So how is it? Science can't debunk itself, though.
Yeah, it is a frustrating situation. But I mean, like, just like to your point, like, you got to be your own hero in your own story, and you got to, like, and especially like if you have kids, like, that's why I love that you're like a father and you're into this too, because like, it's so important for your kids' lives that you do look into this. Like, if you have a family and you're like the head of the household, or you're just a parent, you need to consider, what am I doing to myself, and what am I allowing my kids to do? What am I allowing society to do to our kids? Because like that, I think about that every day. Like, what example am I setting for my kid, and what things am I letting to his life, right? So I'm very like aware, like trying to learn as much as possible every single day to like, okay, I'm not gonna, like, we're filtering our water, like we distill it after, so it's completely clean, right? Like, no fluoride, no chlorine. What was that?
What filter do you use? I've been wanting to get a filter. I have a water softening system in here, but it was so outdated, I haven't put one in. But I want, in the meantime, I want to put a water filter system in there. And
I want to get a whole house water filtration system eventually, but right now I'm just using a basic. So I actually do two part. I use just a basic like Brita water filter, which gets out the chlorine, and then I actually do a distiller. Do you know what a distiller is? So a distiller is like maybe like in science class you remember this, like you would like boil the water and the water would evaporate and then go down into another tube and then be like water again, but once it gets condensed back down. So idea behind it is that I use the filter first to get out whatever is going to be, because like some things like evaporate with the water too, like chlorine, and they'll go with the distilled water back and evaporate and they'll be still in the water. So I filter it out to get the chlorine out first, and then I distill it to get whatever else is like the filter won't get out. So like the fluoride, the heavy metals, like the pharmaceutical drugs, then it's pretty much just straight water. Some people consider it maybe dead water, but what I do is I keep it in like containers. I can always add a little bit of Celtic sea salt back in to add some nutrients back in. Me and my wife, we have like sticky notes where we write like intentional words on them. So like love and healing, or like success, wealth. And we put that on our water jugs and we walk over to them and we put our hands on them. And we think about like, we put our energy into them, which may sound like woo woo to some people, but once you learn like just how much like your energy goes out into the world, it can like, and think about like water, like is like you're made up of like 75% water. Like the numbers kind of vary, but like majority like of water. And they've done studies where like the words you say to the water can actually change like the structure. I can't remember the guy's name. There's a picture of it that I posted on my Instagram, the doctor who does it, but like it's super interesting, right? Like literally like you put words out and it changes the structure of the water.
I think if people understood a little bit of science as far as like how, electromagnetic, frequencies, and that everything is all vibrational. I think somebody did a study where they took water and they put it on the piano, and they with each key that they pressed on the piano, the vibrations of the water would change.
Yeah.
There would be literally geometric patterns, and I think they did something. I forgot that. I think it was this might have been a documentary called "What the Bleep Do We Know?"
Oh yeah.
And I think they did what you were talking about, where I don't know how they did it, but they concentrated lower vibrational frequency or focused on hate, and then they meditated or something they did, and the patterns that came out were just so ugly, gnarly looking patterns. But then when they did love, they were like the most beautiful snowflake patterns you ever saw. So there's the quantum physics, man. Like what's that experiment where they shine the light, through these things, and then when they take the light away, the particles expand. So there's if we want to say, there's this infinite reality that we don't understand, but then we try to put it in a box of understanding it. And I mean, like I said, I'm living proof, man, that food is literally, what it does at the cellular level. It's not just something to have you full, man. It literally is medicine. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, but I could agree with that. Like our society has definitely lost not fact, but like understanding of why we eat, right? Like everyone thinks of it as like pleasure just to get full, but you're eating to, like, why are you eating and what are you eating is really what's important. Like you're eating to get the nutrients so that your body can actually operate efficiently, right? So you can get the energy, right? So like a lot of these foods that are on like the shelves, like in packaging and stuff, they're processed. They are low energy food. They're foods that are just like straight like garbage. Like you could probably eat like the cardboard a lot of these foods come in and get more nutrients than the actual food. And you get less toxins.
Get less toxins. Yeah, they're just dead food, man. And I'm like, holy moly, man. Like, it's interesting. My second son, he eats like I did as a kid. And it's interesting. He has the same symptoms, and I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to start making smoothies out of it with something with this kid, man. He's gonna have the same problems. I mean, because your kids, they get your genetics, because all your genetics means is that you're susceptible to a certain damage. If you eliminate the environment, then you eliminate the potential for the disease. Environment is everything. It's the stuff you breathe. It's the air you breathe. It's the water you drink. It's the carpet you walk on. Because the carpet, if it's synthetic, it off gases. So everything around you, you can't eliminate all of it, but you want to try to eliminate as much. And one of the main ways is your food and your water, because you take those in every single day.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And like to your point of like the genetics part, actually for epigenetics, I forgot to mention this part. Like with epigenetics, they realized that like your environment and your thoughts can turn on or off your genes. So like if you have a cancerous gene and your environment around you is like very dark and toxic filled and chaotic, your cancerous gene can get turned on. Whereas it can be turned off if you have the right environmental conditions and like right beliefs, right? It's like you hear about like the placebo effects all the time, right? Like someone miraculously heals themselves because they thought that they were going to get healed. There's such thing as nocebo effect as well, where people like there was this case back in the 60s where there was like this case of this type of cancer, right? That like was at the time deemed like uncurable, right? And this doctor misdiagnosed this patient, and they were told they have 6 months left to live. They believed them, and they died within 6 months. They did a biopsy on that body after 6 months. They found no sign of any cancer. So your thoughts can break or make you, right? Like it's just like to your point, like you literally everything's connected and like everything's speaking to each other. So like how like with the mycelium, the trees are speaking to each other. Our cells are actually speaking to the environment around us. So like they found that with epigenetics, like our cells speak. So like Dr. Bruce Lipton put different cells in different areas, and he surrounded them by different things. And so some of the cells grew into like muscles, some of them grew into other parts based on where he surrounded them with, because they were speaking to their environment.
Yeah, and that's something bringing us back to the gamers is that,
Mhm.
you know, mentality and environment.
Mhm.
And those are two of the main things that gamers are exposed to. Um, Mentality, probably, like we said, those mental health issues, and I struggle with that myself.
Yep.
I mean, when I get in a funk, I don't. It's like I don't even want to get out of it. It's
Mhm.
like it's crazy. Like, but like I said, this wig, this disease put me in, because when you put in a position where you literally, there's stores, most stores in the city I can go in and there's nothing in the store I can buy,
Yep.
even if it's for healthy options. So it puts you in a mentality that says, oh my God, it's like you walk in on Pokemon and, oh, now you've entered a battle. Everything is a battle.
Mhm.
So I have to treat life, and I don't want people to get here, but it's forced me to live in the moment. And I think that's one thing that, uh, gamers you could do more. You could do a lot by living in the moment. And that's what this, I guess I'll say, that's what this wig is using strategic joy and happiness and laughter by being in the moment to change my mentality, and
Right.
realizing that you have the power to do that. It does take effort, but it's like, man, if you just do something silly out of nowhere, and trust me, it'll help you shift back there. And then going back to the environment, you know, gaming is one of the best things ever, but it can be toxic if in a very toxic environment. I mean, you got Wi-Fi pinging all around you, all
Mhm.
types of, got up late, so all those things. So to gamers, there's some external, because there's internal stressors like mentality, but then there's external things that can also affect things. And I think if you try to eliminate, like we said, better gaming schedule, you know, better diet, eat those foods that are good for neurological function, and try to avoid the anti-nutrients. And I think that'll help, because I mean, I'm blown away, man. I feel like a whole new different version of myself. I mean, you have an entirely new body of cells after, what, 4 years.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see what in the next 2 years, how I feel then. Because I pray to God, nothing happens to me. But I've talked to people who are of Christianity, and they're like, no, there's scriptures in the Bible that actually say you are living how God intended us to live. And I'm like, wow. So not to get spiritual,
Yeah.
but spirituality is just talking about life. It's not really telling you need to do this one thing, but it's like, no, it's like we're supposed to live in accordance with, in a balance with the planet that we've been gifted, and with our natural humanity. So yeah, man, that's my tangent.
Yeah, I love that. And Mike gave you a shout out. He said, in just 2 years, you look incredibly more healthy, bro. You've done a great job.
Oh man.
Uh,
Man, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, he was there with me when I was bad, man. And I'm telling you, when I thought I was my most healthiest, I was 225. I was basically a vegetarian. I was taking protein supplements. I mean, dude, I was in shape, bro. And was the most unhealthiest I could have ever been. Didn't even know it. Had no idea. I mean, I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was like, man, what's wrong with my back, man? And I'm thinking it's like something I need to stretch. And I was like, what the heck, man? And I feel bad because I think I filled out a work-related injury because I thought I had back. It wasn't my back. It was multiple sclerosis.
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I didn't know my doc. But here's the thing. I went to the doctor probably maybe about 8 years prior to that. And you know what this doctor gave me? Because I thought it was multiple sclerosis. I was on WebMD and everything. And I was go online, you be like, damn, I'm dying. And I was like, no, I was actually right. This doctor gave me aspirin and a wrist splint. He said I had early carpal tunnel.
Wow.
Total misdiagnosed me. And I'm looking back, I'm like, dang, bro, I could have prevented this.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, unfortunately, like, just like you said, like they don't have much like training in health. They get trained in like prescribing drugs. Like,
Yeah.
not to diss on doctors too much. I know they go in there to try to help people, but it really has to do with their training with the Rockefeller system. And you know, they don't get trained the right way. They don't get trained into health. If you want true health, if you want to learn about health, go see a holistic doctor. That's where you're going to get true health principles.
Hey, I'm in the medical field as a father. And if I start saying, I see people suffering from autoimmune diseases all the time. And it's very disheartening because it's out of my practice. I'm not a dietitian.
Yep.
Say something, I could lose my license. But I've ran in a few times when the truck or the engine left, and I was like, no. I went to a lady the other day. I forgot what she had. But golly, man, it was hard. It was so hard to watch that, man. She was in and it's a weird pain. Autoimmune pain is so weird because you look normal, but it's like electricity is going through. It's if it's attacking your nerves, it's like electricity and fire like you've never experienced. And to most people, they're like, "Hey, man, you look healthy." From neurological disease, you know. But yeah, you could even touch this woman. You couldn't even touch. She was in so much pain, and the one thing she had, her teeth were very they were very they were rotted out. You know, she and I ran back and I told her husband, I said, you need to take that care of because those nerves, they run right. That was my issue. I knocked my tooth out when I was like 13, and I knocked it on a table, and I didn't tell my parents because I was scared I'd get in trouble. And then looking back in hindsight, I'm like, whoa, I think these symptoms have been with me my entire life, but the pain was never. And look at our dental health care system.
Oh yeah.
They charge you $200, $2,000 just to take the tooth out. How many Americans have that?
Yeah, it's bad, and they fill it up with fluoride and like the dental fillings. Those dental fillings full of like mercury and this. Oh man, this.
Yeah. I had it taken out, and I'm like, man, I'm about to just throw a gold grill in, man. I'm cool. I'm about to be out here with a grill. Like I'm cool, man. I don't want to put anything back in my mouth, man, because you know man, it's screwed up, man. That's where we got a lot of work to do, man. Our healthcare system, but the fortunate thing is what I've found. There are so many people in the crunchy mom movement. There's so many people I'm telling you, men. Hey, when we get mad, we're like, all right, give me the sword, give me the shield. I'm ready to go to battle. But moms, man, they get in them emails, man. They start freaking. And I've noticed, man, some moms, man, and some people that are really applying a whole lot of pressure. And I'm seeing a lot of things getting changed in the favor of the food industry. It's gonna happen. It's gonna take some time, you know. But in the meantime, learn your body, learn your cells, learn the arsenal that the God, the ultimate creator of this game of life, gave you, because He gave you a set of cells that are like the most super overpowered system you could ever be if you gave it what it needs. And I can tell you the supplements I take is magnesium, creatine, iodine, selenium, antioxidants, MCT oil, which is coconut oil, healthy fats. I'll say healthy fats. Believe it or not, the animal fats are what you should be eating. Exactly what you should be eating. So it's just when you have a mass-produced, chemically fed animal, that's the problem. So fuel those cells, fuel the weapons cache that in your system, in your main character's quest. Fuel that, and then be the hero in your main story, man.
Yeah, I love that, man. Like it's all about like building your stats up, right? Building your health up. I like to think about it like when I go to reach for some food, like think about like in a video game, right? When you get rewarded, you don't get like something that's going to make your guy weaker. You don't get something that's going to make it so you have less energy. You make it so you get stronger, so you can take on a tougher challenge. When you're going to, like, let's say you did something good in life, how are you going to reward yourself? You're going to reward yourself with some McDonald's, something that's going to make your character weaker. You're going to have less energy. You're going to have more toxins in your body. Or you're going to reward yourself with something that's going to give you, help you build your muscles up, help you build your strength up, help get your mind more clear, right? So it's all about like the rewards and like building your stats and your health up, right? So like I love that you're talking about like, putting like essentially this like raw, natural, organic foods into your body, right? Like if it's processed, if it's processed, if it's like in a container, if it's in packaging, likely probably not going to be very healthy for you the majority of the time. Like you want, and what are your animals eating? What are the plants? How are they grown, right? Like were they sprayed with chemicals? Were they sprayed with pesticides? Were the animals you're eating, did they eat roadkill? Were they stored in like a farm, right? Where they were stored in like a mass production, like we see with that stuff. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, and really like you just get a lot of your nutrients just from the foods you eat if you eat healthy.
Right? Yeah, to touch on your area, because she talks about this in that book, and it's I guess it's easier said than done, but one physical stress management thing that actually has a medical tangible benefit, which I've recently discovered. Whoa. Sorry about that. There's the kid back there. It is forest bathing, man. Have you heard of that?
Forest what?
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing. No, what's that about?
Yeah, forest bathing, man. It's something. The reason why you go to, and I'm paraphrasing and stuff, but I'm pretty sure this is true. In Japan, their cherry blossoms are integrated into their cities, and the being is that the oils from the trees, the vapor that they give off, actually produce, for the lack of the scientific term, something that's called natural killers, and those natural killers actually they directly kill cancer cells. Because the problem with my cells, they prematurely die. Cancer cells don't die. That's when they, mine, they won't go into apoptosis. Cancer cells, they just, mine go into apoptosis too early. Cancer cells, they just keep growing, because all cells, they have a life and a death cycle.
Right.
But when you walk through a forest, the vapors that you're inhaling naturally target. I made a post on it. If you look on my page, if you see it,
I'll check it out.
It's a literal thing. Literally the oils that you breathe in actually target specifically cancer cells. So that's a stress management technique. Go to any of your forests, or just a little park in your area, because we've got a few of them, man. They're like, nature preservation, forests here. They're not big forests, but they do gardening classes and things like that, and how to care for the wildlife, and but now that you're aware of it, you'll notice it, and I notice it, and I'm telling you, man, and it's so interesting to be aware of what my cells are doing, because I know when something is working and when something is like pseudoscience.
Yep.
And it's amazing. I'm like, wow. And then now look, here's another issue. I think, what is it, 98% of natural forests in America have been destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, and it's even just like the fact, like when you walk into, like, go on a hike or something, right? You naturally just feel more relaxed, right? You feel that just like, and well, nowadays, a lot of people have like AirPods in or some kind of headphones in when they're going out. Take those AirPods out, the earphones out. Take out the sunglasses, right? Like, let your son get touched by the sun.
If you gotta be out in nature, because I'm guilty of it. Because we walked upon a lake, and I said, "Oh, there's water Pokemon here." So I pulled up Pokemon. I'm a gamer, man,
Yeah.
but I turned it on. My phone started overheating. I said, "Oh, this is not why I'm out here." But yes, that's one. I if you don't know about it, do some research, advocate it to your followers, man. Forest bathing, a real tangible, medically tangible stress management technique, man.
Yeah, I totally believe it. And just like grounding, going in the grass with no shoes on for 10 minutes a day can be a great benefit as well, right? So like, I'm just really just getting back into nature and grounding. Do you know what grounding is?
Yeah, man, I let my kids go out there. I mean, I don't. I kind of recently started knowing about it.
It's
That
pretty,
it's like Earth's natural frequency, right?
yeah, it's 432 hertz is what the Earth is at, and you just put your feet in the grass, and like your feet, that they call it the sole of your foot, because the energy naturally flows into through your feet. So now every day people have rubber shoes on, and it stops the flow of energy going into your feet. So it's important to go barefoot into the grass, into the ground, swimming in the water, and get that natural energy to especially with all the EMFs going around and the 5G and all that stuff going on, and like that alert going on, right?
No, you're not, man. I mean, people. Here's a website for you. It's called Microwaved Vets, like microwave veterinarians, and that is a website for radiation injured military personnel. And this website, it's never been censored. It's still there. It's just not. It's just nobody really knows about it. And man, it was so interesting because I was fortunate to find this website at the beginning of the pandemic, and I worked for one of those companies when I worked in cell phones years ago. Wowie. Wowie was a terrible one of the first cricket. I don't know. You guys don't know about cricket. That was like a local cell phone company that we had here.
Oh no, I knew about cricket. Yeah, I used to live in Colorado, so they had cricket down there too.
Okay. Yeah. So one of Cricket's first smartphones was Wowie, but Wowie outside of here, I think, where are they from, Hong Kong or something? They're huge in the cell phone communications, like all that the FCC, all that kind of crazy stuff that's going on. And on that Microwave Vets website, they without a doubt, basically what they said is that those 5G towers are military equipment that was basically bought or inherited by your communication companies, that they basically didn't read the package. That's pretty much what you have. If you go on top of any area where they have those towers, they will have a warning sign that says the distances that are safe for the general public. Those are general public guidelines. And they don't understand. That's just the general public. That's just hey, this is generally safe. This is what this is what we think is safe. That doesn't tell you the long-term effects. That doesn't. So I'm like, dude, what do you mean? Like, I can, if radiation, gamma, beta, alpha are bad, then obviously being exposed to something. I mean, I maybe, I don't want to be, making, could be apples to oranges argument there, but, I mean, yeah, too much of anything is bad, So and like I said, like, if you guys are gonna just tell me not to look into it, I'm gonna look into it.
Definitely. Yeah, man. I totally agree with that, and it's super interesting with the 5G. Like, I know it's super harmful. Like, me and my wife actually we unplugged the Wi-Fi from our house every time before we go to bed.
What?
No Wi-Fi. We have our phones in airplane mode. So like we avoid anything Bluetooth. We have everything wired when possible. So yeah, we definitely try to avoid. Like, I don't put my cell phone. I don't know if you do, but don't put your cell phone up to your ear. Use headphones if you can, or speaker, because like blasting radiation into your head. Like all the people with AirPods nowadays, every time I see them, I'm like, oh man, like you should take that out.
Yeah. For years ago, there was a farmer who he actually I think he sued the company because he actually got brain cancer because he would use Bluetooth for while he was doing his job farming. And the doctor actually told him, yeah, it's actually connected to those headsets that you wear all the time. So it's like, it's kind of that's the thing people got to realize is we don't live in a time where the news is what the news used to be, and that's the dystopian Orwellian like reality, and that's why I love the 80s and the gaming, because there's a lot of concepts that are within that. And you know, I you know, like, you know, that's the issue that I have. And there's an underlying you know, I guess tone to my post, you know, to try to point people in the direction to ask why. You know, ask why. My parents used to call me the question king when I was a kid. Because and my grandma used to tell me, she'd be like, baby, there ain't no such thing as a dumb question.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, man. That's I'm proud of you and your wife though, man. That's awesome, man. You guys are my wife, she follows me, but she also, like, her passion is, you know, is she's just babies, man. She just babies. Anything that she sees affecting babies, she just goes into freaking, you know, mama bear mode, man. I mean, like, it's tough because my kids are picky. They're super picky. But yeah, my oldest, man, she's had him on all of them breastfed, every single.
Perfect.
And you know, you know, it's interesting. She finally had got the power. She felt like she got her power back. You know, and I don't know. I think vaccines do have a place and stuff, but yeah, man, I just had a coworker tell me they were at some grocery store. They ran into one of their friends. They asked them how their day was going, and they said, not so good, because their child, who was just normal, had got a shot. I don't know which one. It wasn't the new one. They're permanently in a vegetable state. And the doctor flat out told them, it was like, yeah, that's what it is. And that I guess that's the good thing, is doctors are finally acknowledging, because they too have family members who are being affected. And even, I'm seeing that in the fire department. Most people would make fun of me because of my diet in the fire department, you know, because you have people, we all eat together, and then people who bring I bring my own. But now there's so many firefighters who are being affected by it, having weird pains, family member kids developing diseases where their esophagus swells up if they eat gluten or something, or, you know, I mean, and gluten is nothing but a protein that only manifests in hybridized wheat. You know, that's not even the chemical. It's a hybridized food that's been bred for hardiness. So, I mean, you know, if you look at, you know, white tigers, you know, in the zoo, they're not naturally occurring. They force breed those, and that's why many of them have cleft lips. You know, whatever. You know, they're not meant to occur like that. You know, so when you force something to happen like that, it's not, and then you eat it. What do you think is going to happen? You know, so I just, you know, my thing is like protect the you know, protect what God gave you, protect what the universe gave you, you know, and that in like going back to what I said, is like, how do you address, as the main character in your story, the problems that the final boss, because trust me, there's somebody on this planet that does not want you to have the things you have.
Yeah, and wants to keep you just stuck and unhealthy. Unfortunately, like, it's at this point, like, it's too much like indication to ignore. Like, there's a group of people, who knows, but there's people who are orchestrating that, you know, we are going to be weakened and sick. Like, we've seen it over time, from pretty much from all angles, like politics, there is the education, there is the food, the water supply, all of it, right? So I completely agree with you, and it's just, I don't want people to think this is all doom and gloom, right? Like, there are ways to get healthier, like, just like you have, right? Just like I have gotten out of, like, my depression and my addiction and stuff. Like, there are ways, and how I got my health back. And actually, my wife had fibromyalgia. She was able to heal that, right? So, like, you can get your health back, and you can get over that depression. You can get out of that addiction, and you can start to make a better life. You can get out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, right? There are ways forward, but the biggest thing is you gotta put in that work. You gotta be like, hey, I am the main character of my story. How have I been playing my game, right? Like, have I been putting in the work in my game, or have I been not doing it? Like ask yourself, like, if you were like in your video game, what kind of foods would your main character be eating? Do you think he'd be eating all the Doritos and stuff? if he's going to be out there slaying dragons? Or do you think he'd be putting actual good foods into his body so he can take on those dragons to the best of his ability, right? You think he'd be downing all that meat every single hour? Well, in the some games, maybe sure they might push that, but like in reality, no one's gonna be go fighting like the main boss of their life or the main boss of the game super drunk or super hammered or super high, right? You gotta put that stuff into your own perspective and like, well, I need to take action for my life. And other people can help you, but at the end of the day, you gotta be the one to do it, right?
Hey man, Mike, man, that guy, he has an interesting story like that too, man, because he was you know, he'll tell you himself, man, he used to smoke he used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, man. And then I don't know, man, we helped each other out, man, and I don't know, maybe that's something too, man, but that dude, man, he's like an environmental inspector now, and
Nice.
also, man, and his son's a gamer like me, and I think he's AFK most of the time. I actually got him. I was like, dude, you gotta get on Instagram, bro, so you can check us out, man. Check your boy out. And I told him, like, dude, you got it. Hey, this guy here talking about you. I was like, you need to check him out, man. He's talking about mental health and gaming, like, and just thinking about that. I wish I could ask him, you know, what it was specifically that man that just changed the motivation with him, man, because he has a very interesting story, man. He takes care of so many members of his family, and he's an amazing father, man, and you know, he's being the best hero in his story, man, and I watched him make that. We kind of made it at the same time. It was very interesting, you know. So man, you know, if you ever want to message him, man, because he has an amazing story too, man.
Yeah, you have to shoot me his contact info. And Mike, I think you're listening now. If you want to come share your story, love to have you on the podcast. Come share your story. I think it'd help a lot of people. Just like this one, I think, Jerry, I think this conversation hopefully is going to reach other people. You know, if they have autoimmune disease, if they're just got depression, if they're just feeling unhealthy, just in any way. Of course, I'm sure that you're totally fine reaching out to them, or you know, them reaching out to you, you talking to them. So
Reach out. Come to the cool down lounge, baby. That's
oh yeah,
where you set, baby. Come in, yeah. And I'm gonna point you to all of the people in the gaming community that I think that are inspiring, that you know, inspire me to just shoot, man. Just try to, you know, I'm excited to see what everybody has to contribute, man, to life. You know, life it's an interesting planet, man, full of interesting people, you know, and you know, but you gotta bring what the universe gave you, and sometimes that takes a little soul searching. That takes a change in mentality, a change, you know, that change in mentality. That's really where it starts. That is where it starts. Because I had a problem with substance abuse when prior to me deciding to be a firefighter years ago, and it wasn't until I read the book The Secret.
oh yeah,
Ironically gave to Mike. And it wasn't until I read that book and everybody, they were like, dude, how'd you put everything cold turkey? And it was just once I realized the power of this, the true power of this and its place in this whole universe. Mm-hmm. It's not separate from this universe. It's actually one. And so when you realize, like, whoa, you are the controller. You're more than the hero. You are the person that is controlling the game. You know, so that's so once I realized that, man, that's when I decided. I said, you know what? I'm gonna be the type of person that will lay their life down on the line for somebody else. And I decided, I didn't even think I decided, drugs just wasn't a part of that picture. You know, I was just like, it's just not a part of it. You know. Now, you know me, I'm not as much. You know, I'm not against. What can I say? The medicinal properties, and you'll see in the Walls protocol, she mentions, and this is no doctor who you can follow her on. If you follow Terry Walls on Instagram, that's her page. This is not a doctor who's going to tell you to go Cheech and Chong and go out here and start chiefing.
Oh yeah.
You know. You know, but they're in, because you even have to be careful when you're when you're using, you know, things for medicinal purposes, because they actually, the molecule for CBD and THC is actually very large, and it actually can do a lot of damage to your kidneys. You know, so there are ways to take these things if you want to take them for that medicinal property, that you don't have the psychotropic when you get into your CB1 and CB2 receptors of the brain, because it is associated with healing. You know, however, you can get CBD from many foods as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you know me, you know, I think the endocannabinoid system is something that we have to address from a responsible perspective, because we do have one, just like we have an endocrine system, you know. But same as with gaming, you have to game responsibly too, you know. But to say that drugs, you know, or cannabis has a medicinal property, because it's hard for me to not to look, because there was a time when I stopped doing drugs, I really looked down on marijuana, probably mistakenly, you know, in that context,
Right.
because I had known so many people that were affected by it negatively, you know. But now that I see people with autism, with autoimmune diseases, that those are some of the main diseases that come from being endocannabinoid deprived, you know. But that's a whole nother subject, you know, because I know some people will use that argument to say, well, you know, I use, you know, because, you know, it has medicinal properties. Yeah, it's like, yeah, but if you're smoking it, what's it really doing to your lungs?
Yeah.
You know, what's going to you? Because you know, I can remember smoking, and then for the fun, and then for the dependency,
Oh yeah.
and then you're not even realizing, like, it's not even, you're really locked into a habit now. You know, you have to ask yourself, like, hold up, man, what if, you know, is this thing smoking me, or am I smoking it? Like, what's going on? You know, so I don't want to take that away, because I had to lay that out there, because I don't want people to say, well, it does have medicinal properties, so I'm gonna keep doing it. No, it does. But just like gaming is fun, it can be dangerous if you don't do it responsibly.
Yeah,
You know,
spot on, man. I totally agree. I mean, like I was a big marijuana smoker for like a long time, right? Like I lived in Colorado, so it was legal there too, when I was down there. So like I was, you know, smoking joints all the time, bong rips, taking dabs, like concentrated THC and stuff like that. And I always told myself, oh, I'm gonna be smoking this till the day I die. It's good for you, right? It's medicinal. And yeah, sure, on some parts there are some medicinal properties. Like I don't discount that, but the biggest thing for me, I noticed for me, was one, my lungs, and two was just like my breathing got worse, but two, like it kept me stuck. It made me feel good with where I was, which isn't a bad thing to feel good with where you are, right? But I felt so good with where I was, and so just like, oh, I don't need to do anything, right? So I stopped working out. I stopped worrying about what I'm eating. I stopped trying to work on a side business, right?
Yeah.
And like every time I would stop it and then I'd go back, like I'd have these really good habits I was creating when I stopped smoking marijuana, and I go back and I go right back in the same part of getting stuck again, right? So like it's a sticky substance that like it pulls you back in.
Yeah.
And like it's definitely alluring. Like there's times I think about it, right? But
yeah, and she even says in her book, for people that struggle with substance abuse, she advises them to not have any sugar.
Oh, yep, sugar. Definitely.
Because, and I was one of those people, like,
oh yeah,
sugar, boy, I can't even have natural sweeteners. Because it changes my mentality to a high mentality. Like, and I'm like, and I can feel it. Like, I'm like, whoa. And I can feel my blood trigger the immune response that triggers my body to attack my own. And it's crazy, you know? So I think something that with that is, because there's going to be people who are going to do it. It's like, watch for the signs. And I don't know, maybe you can touch on that. The signs of when it's using you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, really just it's about awareness, like what we've kind of like touched on like multiple times throughout this podcast, right? Like awareness of like yourself. And I love that you become so aware of like what's going on within your body, because it's about awareness, right? I mean, when I was doing it, there was times when I wasn't aware of anything that's going on. Then what got me more aware was starting to learn about my mind and how it worked. And then I started to realize, hey, like I'm drawn to this because there's a specific reason why. And then I started having thoughts like, oh, I wanted to I wanted to stop smoking. Like I remember like when I was super high every night, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's the day I'm gonna stop smoking, right? Like I'm just gonna not smoke tomorrow. And then I wake up in the morning and be like, I kind of want to smoke a joint. And I go smoke another joint. And then I like again later that night, I'm like, I just want to stop smoking again. And like I just kept having this like struggle, like telling myself I was going to do it, and then I didn't do it, and then I felt even worse because I didn't do it, right? And so, I mean, what I want people to know really is just like it comes with awareness and then realization that hey, maybe this thing is holding me back. Like there can be ways that a little bit of marijuana is not too bad, but you need the realization of like, hey, is it holding me back from doing what I want to do? Like, am I really where I want to be in life? And how, if I'm not, how is marijuana playing in that role to get me to where I want to be, right? Like, and like a lot of people are stuck in jobs they hate, like, and they are feeling depressed and they have low health, right? So like, it's just about, again, like, how are you going to make your character as strong as possible so you can take on these bosses, you can take on these tough challenges?
Kind of reminds me of like Fallout, like when you stumble across like a drug or something, or like wine, and it gives your character like certain strengths, but it also makes your character like moves extra slow or something like that. Kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get some buffs, but it's actually gonna knock you down in some key areas as well. Because that's just I'm like, I value after that episode, after I quit everything, I began to value. Once I learned the power of the mind, I valued a sober mind. I was like, if the universe, God designed this like this, then it must be grand and amazing in its natural sober state. I don't need the enhancement, Like let me play without the cheat code.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I mean, and it's really, I feel like that the weed, the alcohol, the addiction, the sugar is trying to like be it's essentially like it's a solution for your life, right? It's a solution for something wrong in your life. Either you're depressed, you're unhappy with where you are. Maybe you might not call it depression, but you're unhappy with where you are in life. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're in a job you just like. You don't have a partner or whatever it may be. You're feeling unfulfilled, and you're using it to feel better about your life. Like, even if you may not realize that at this point, a lot of the times that's where it's coming from, or you're using it as a stress relief, right? Like it's a solution. Like, and unfortunately that solution turns into a problem after a bit, right?
Yeah. Someone told me is usually, I forgot what I was reading this, is if you are trying to get those benefits from that drug, it's usually because you're lacking on a chemical demand within your body on a nutritional level as well.
Definitely.
And that's what I said. Like I just Google like what foods can you get cannabinoids from, and it's a lot more foods than you would think.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, like, yeah, your body naturally has cannabinoid receptors in it, right? So like that's for the longest time. I was like, yeah, it's totally good for your body. Like that's why I'm going to smoke every single day, right? And I was literally high 24/7. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like it is about being aware of your body, and then just like becoming just like aware of your situation, and just like being real with yourself, and saying like whether it's gaming, it's marijuana, it's alcohol, it's junk food, it's sweets, right? Like being real with yourself, saying like, is this gonna help me become the best version of myself? Is this gonna help me become the person I want to be, right? And create the life I want to be.
Like you said, hey, how would your ideal favorite character from one of your favorite games, how would they conduct themselves? And I don't think they would be laid out on the couch at 10 in the morning. There's no rescuing Princess Peach if Mario is stuck on the damn mushroom, man.
Mamma mia. I love that. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really grateful that you came on and we talked. I feel like we probably talk all night, but we'll probably have to cut it off here soon. I mean, we just do like a part two or something and have you back and we'll talk some more because
Hey
we can
man,
definitely go and go.
oh baby man, you know where I'm gonna be at in the AFK cool down lounge, baby. That's where you find me, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Jerry, I'm gonna post all your links in like the description down below so people can find you. And then,
Okay.
of course, anyone who's listening, make sure you reach out to Jerry, follow him, give him some likes on his post, check out his content. He has some great content. Definitely some really just like some truth he sprinkles in there, and some his AFK lounge page is just awesome with some really cool gaming quotes. I really like that like aesthetic that you're doing with that. And so yeah, just show Jerry some love and support there.
Hey man, I appreciate it, man. I know I don't have very many followers in here, but you drop your Instagram tag because I know Tanner is what it shows up on my page, but I can't remember what your name of your page is. But this guy here, you guys probably, if there's anybody in here whoever sees this, gaming, mental health, focused individual who's trying to teach gamers, how to manage their mentality, shift their mentality, and to bring more positive motivation into their life. Man, that's something that it's a godsend, man. And I'm proud that you have the bravery and courage to do that, man.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Jerry. It's always good hearing some feedback from people, and I'm just glad it's people are seeing it, and hopefully people are getting some help from it. Because just like we talked about, like I'm a big believer in just healing yourself and helping yourself, and then going out and helping other people. So, yeah, my Instagram. Actually, I probably need to change the name of it because it has my last name. It's actually if anyone's watching, you can see it's just Tanner.Dagenais, just like my Zoom name is here. You should be able to see that there. But yeah, I'm probably gonna change it to probably Tanner the Mind Hackers, just so people can find it easier because my last name is pretty hard to spell. So yeah, because I mean that's really what I'm all about. Like that's why I made my gamer tag like the Mind Hacker, because it's really about your mindset. Like your mind can change a lot, and once you start to become more aware, which is your mindset once again, you can change your reality. You can create your own reality. Like we are, just like Jerry has talked about. God gave us the ability to create, like we've talked about. And so I hope you guys go out there and create your own reality. Jerry, if you want to leave us off with like just something you want people to take away from this talk, I'll let you kind of go now. Like anything you want, or something that's important about like health or anything like that.
Man, hey, like I've been saying this whole time, man, it's just look at the inspiration. If you're a gamer, man, if you're even, look at the inspiration from those stories, from anything that you ever played, and use that for how it is, take what you learn from the game and put it into your life, because you are the one that's powering, you're the one that's completing, you're the one that's getting those power ups. You can do those, you can power up yourself, to overcome it. If I can overcome multiple sclerosis with food, trust me, because doctors don't even think that's possible. Anything is. But one of the main things I'll tell you that's very important, which we didn't touch on it very much, choose your allies.
Yeah.
Very, because you a big, and that's why this gaming community is so important. Because once you build that community, it's not, willpower is not as strong as who you are around. It's mainly, like I said, if you take 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth if you hang out with those millionaires. Because that who you're around is, and we didn't touch on it that much, but that is something that is very important.
Oh yeah.
And that's anytime this guy wants to get on a live with me, I'm there, man, because I'm feeding off of this energy. He's now one of the people in my party, in my camp, So I use energy, man. That's the way energy, when we talk, that's the way energy works. Get around people that vibrate on the same energy frequency as you, and you guys will help each other excel in each other's quest.
I love that. Yeah, man. And I have a Discord. If anyone wants to join, just go to my About Me section. I'm actually building up a community there. I post daily about like mental health, about self-sabotage, about addictions, and it's a place to come and just share your wins. you know, and something maybe you're grateful for every day. So I'm going to shoot you an invite to that too, Jerry, so you can check it out. And thank you so much, Mike, for the follow there. I appreciate that. And for just sticking around, watching the whole thing and giving us comments. Appreciate that. And for everyone, you know, Chris and my brother Mike actually showed up too. That's so thank you all for just coming and supporting us. And yeah, I mean, super grateful, like, once again, Jerry, to have you on. And I think we'll just leave it there. I think that's a pretty good place to stop. Oh yeah.
AFK, baby.
Oh man, what's your name again with the glasses on?
Lightning Davis, the Weekend Warrior, also the host of Final Boss Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
That getup kind of also makes me think of like some like Hulk Hogan or something, kind of like
yeah,
like a wrestler, like, hey brother, like.
Have you seen what's going on in the news today, ladies and gentlemen?
You should totally make a video like that. That would be perfect. That would be so good.
I want you. Do you understand me?
Yeah, you fire, dude. That's gonna go viral.
Oh, we got it. Hey, thank you, man. I'm gonna do it, bro. I'm gonna do it. I'm telling you.
You do it. Yeah, tag me in it so I can watch. I'll share it around too.
I will.
Perfect. All right, Jerry. Well, grateful to connect, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
All right, you too, Tanner, man. Peace, man.
Peace.